Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade, and I'm joined by the gentleman from Band of Robbers. A great take, modern day take on Mark Twain, looking at Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. Make sure to check it out in theaters. Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade. So, gentlemen, we were just talking. New York Times gave you guys a great write up today. We're just talking about it.
Yes.
Band of Robbers looks really, really cool. I love how you can take something like Mark Twain and Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn and turn it into a modern day adaptation. How does this whole thing come about?
You know, it's funny. It actually started from a colossal embarrassment. When I first moved to New York to be an actor.
Perfect start to
Yes,
the story
yes.
already.
I auditioned for an Adventures of Huckleberry Finn movie, but I was a 21-year-old man, and the part at that time was a 13-year-old boy. I have no idea how I got in on this audition, but to add a flourish, I thought that the new approach for Huck should be like Martin Sheen's performance in Badlands.
Right.
So I came to it with this like Kit Carruthers Texas accent, and it was the worst, most embarrassing audition ever. And I walked out of there just being like, wait a second, what if Huckleberry Finn was a grown-up, still saying and wanting the same things he did when he was a kid? And that's where it started, was just the idea of Tom and Huck from this embarrassment, like what would it be like if they were saying all these same childhood things but as grown-ups? And that was the genesis.
You and I were just talking at The Outsiders. Another really cool project. How do you get involved in this project?
In this one?
Yeah.
It started off just kind of the basic audition process. I got sent the script. I read the script. I was a little confused by the script. Just tonally, it was like nothing I'd ever read, but I knew there was something special about it. I knew there was something that I really liked, and it was just a lot of fun. So I went in and I read for the movie, and I read with Adam, who was not actually Tom at the time. He was just reading with me, and I kind of thought he was Tom, because as soon as he started reading it, all those questions I had about it being a little confusing tonally just started to click and make sense because of what he had brought to it. And then I was like, oh, I understand what this is supposed to be now, and now I want it even more than I did before. And
Crap, I better ace this on.
oh my God, please. Yeah, so I knew Matthew Gray Goobler, who Adam's also friends with, so I just kind of hounded Matt for 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks, while I don't even remember how long it took, but while they were trying to figure out Tom. And then finally, Adam ended up doing it, which is the greatest thing that could have happened, and then I got cast.
Yep.
It's got like a Judd Apatow quality to it. I love the comedic tone. It's not dirty. It's not over the top. There's a real childlike quality to this, and that's what needed to be captured here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We wanted to toe that line where we're being completely loyal and faithful to the adaptation, to this great source material, while also making it its own fresh voice. And when you make Tom and Huck grown-ups, they do kind of seem similar to some of the Judd Apatow type of world. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's a very funny movie, and a lot of that is to credit the source material.
Was it difficult? I mean, you think of Mark Twain. Obviously, you could probably take his stories and put them in any era. But to put them in modern day, it's like, how do you really translate that? Was it difficult for you guys to bring those characters to life in a modern day spin?
I think that's more of a question for him. I mean, I used these guys as a huge bounce board. I used him and his brother. They were my greatest kind of aid. Any questions I had, they could answer. So I think that's more of a...
It was obviously a challenge, because we didn't want the movie to ever feel silly, because the movie actually gets dark at times, or there's a lot of depth to it. There's big issues being dealt with. So we knew we could never go too far with it being silly and then be able to pull back for the drama. So for us, what we wanted to do in Translating to Today was create a world that felt like it was in Arrested Development, sort of in the same way that the characters are. So things like the way that the world looked, the way that the characters dressed, also felt kind of nostalgic in this almost 80s kind of environment, to sort of hold on to that feeling of that nostalgia of when you were a kid, that feeling that you had, but now it's them as adults still living in that sort of reality.
You get to work with Supergirl, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Melissa
yeah.
Benoist, who's exploding.
Yes.
Hannibal's one of the funniest dudes on the planet. What's it like working with a great cast like that?
I mean, it's just nice. It's nice to show up to work and work with people who are really happy to be there and really enjoy the movie. And it's just it's a good work environment when you're around people who are happy doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And everybody was super talented and brought their own thing to the table. I mean, Melissa couldn't be nicer. Hannibal was. He's just funny. I mean,
he's always
himself.
on, right? Like
Yeah.
he never stops. I've
No,
interviewed
you're
him. He
always
never
kinda like-
stops.
Yeah.
What?
And he hits
Yeah.
you. It's like bombs. Like
Totally.
facial expression doesn't change.
Nope.
And he drops something, and you're like,
Yeah.
where'd that come from?
He's so uniquely himself. I think that's one of the great things about him and everybody in this cast is we brought these people who had such charm and such charisma in their own way, their own weird way. And Hannibal is like, he's the authentic as it gets. Yeah.
When you look at this project, what do you want people to take away from it? They're sitting in the theater and they walk out of the theater. What's in their heads? What do you want?
You know, I hope that this is a film that you can laugh through the entire time, but walk away feeling like there's a lot more going on and there are deeper layers that you have to think about things. You have to think about racial issues. You have to think about social issues. There are all those things that I think are in there, but you're laughing the entire time you're thinking about it.
Kyle, for you, we'd mentioned The Outsiders. Such a different tone. I mean, you can't get 180 degrees more far than...
Yeah.
What's it like when you have to film something like The Outsiders, a tribal, aggressive, almost Sons of Anarchy-like show compared to this?
I mean, it's just it's just different. It's just slipping on a different pair of shoes. Getting into a different headspace. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's the whole goal as an actor. At least for me, is like I like to see how many different things I can do. Always playing the same thing all the time isn't the most fun. So getting ready for each one was very different. Outsiders is like, I'm gonna go play in the woods. I'm gonna go, just get really primal and very focused up. And for this, it was just all about really, knowing the script and getting to know the script, because tonally, this film is so specific that you can't stray too far without getting away from what it's supposed to be. So this one was much more getting things ready with Adam and Aaron and talking about the script and talking about Huck and talking about our relationship. And there was a lot of that with this, as opposed to Outsiders, where scripts are being written that I haven't even seen. It's more just like, all right, let's get the vibe of it and the feel of it, and then we'll take it as it comes.
Was there a lot of structure around making sure you stayed true to the story, or was there the ability to audible and say, all right, we know this is where Mark Twain took it, but we can go a little bit different?
A lot of that happened in the scripting phase. Was let's be very true to Twain, let's be very true to the books, but let's figure out our fresh spin on this. What's not that we're going to ever really improve Twain, but we can make it our own. And so there was, on set, I would say that we weren't really pulling many audibles, but in the scripting process, there was a lot of discussion about how much of this is going to be exactly verbatim the original stories, and how much is Adam and Aaron Nee's version of Twain's stories.
Awesome. Congratulations, guys. Looks like a ton of
Thank you
fun.
so
So
much.
congrats.